40 for Rateable Crest Titans.
The penultimate round then of the BTRDA Rally Championship for 2018 heads to Shropshire for the Woodpecker stages, but would it be the title decider? Matt Edwards leads the cruiserweight favourite for the title with 3 victories already under his belt this season. But there were a whole host of others here this weekend not quite ready to let him walk away without a good fight. On to the first stage of the day then, and it would indeed be a good start for Matt Edwards and Darren Garrett. They open up a 30-second advantage after the morning stages, certainly here this weekend with that trophy in their sights and proving it. Their closest rival at this stage would be Luke Francis and John Roberts. The pair had been consistently fast in their move to the WRC car this season. A number of podium places confirming that, and this weekend was looking like we'd get more of the same. That fight looked like it could be on. Stephen Petch and Michael Wilkinson clinched the title on this round last year, but that wasn't looking likely to be the case this time around. They do, though, start the day off well with third, keeping Francis well within their sights. Dylan Davies and Cleon Williams take the early lead in the B13 class. A good start for the pair after retirement last time out. They end the morning just 10 seconds back from those podium places up ahead. Meanwhile, it will be the lead in the NR4 class for Pat Naylor and Ian Lawrence. They only had one more round after this to try and take that Group N title, and they were clearly pushing to make this weekend count. 5th place for the pair overall after this stage. A good result on their previous 2 championship outings had given Martin and Dawn England some confidence coming into this round. They end the morning here in Shropshire with 6th overall, on an identical time as well to Naylor. Things weren't quite going to plan though for Russ Thompson and Andy Murphy. 2nd in the NR4 class at this stage, which would have been something to chase in the afternoon, but sadly they would retire after service, robbing us of that fight. Behind them, overall out of the blocks and ready to take advantage after that retirement after service were Matthew Hurst and Declan Deere, the pair lying 2nd in the B13 class at this stage as well. The pace we've seen in the Silver Star this year has got quicker as the events have piled on, so much so that we see Max Utting and Mike Ainsworth ending the morning with 9th place overall in the Gold Star. And rounding out that top 10 would be another of our Silver Star crews, just proving the point. This time, the Fiesta of George Lepley and Tom Woodburn, 10th overall, leading their class. And talking of classes, let's have a look at some of those outside the top 10. It will be 3rd in the B13 class for Peter Bayliss and Anthony Blythe. A little way back from that class fight, though, up ahead. And it will be a similar story for Ron Hall and Phil Spilstead, 3rd in NL4. But of course, that could be due to change after service with that loss of Russ Thompson. Frustratingly, the morning would claim a few victims. Hugh Hunter and Rob Fagg retiring with engine problems in the Fiesta on the first stage of the day. And indeed, it will be stage 1 where we say goodbye as well to Ian Joel and Graham Wood. They do reach the end of the stage, but with a damaged car after hitting a big rock. So the morning's stage is complete. It's a good start to the day for Edwards. Victory and that championship well within sight. But 4 more stages lay between them and that championship title. On to the afternoon stages then, and the loss of Russ Thompson means it's a move up to 2nd in the NR4 class for Ron Hall and Phil Spilstead. It was a move the right way on the leaderboard for Andy Davison and Tom Murphy, the Silver Star crew, making their way into the top 10 overall on this event. Remember what we said earlier? That pace in the Silver Star, now Gold Star rivaling. No change in the class for Peter Bayliss and Anthony Blythe. They end the rally with 3rd in the B13. They do move up the results to 9th overall though. George Lepley and Tom Woodburn also moved their way up the leaderboard in the afternoon stages, ending the rally with an impressive 8th place overall. It was a good end to the day, seeing Matthew Hurst and Declan Deere taking 2nd place in the B13 class, 7th place on our overall leaderboard as well. Meanwhile, Pat Naylor and Ian Lawrence end the rally with a fantastic result. The NR4 class victory was theirs at the end of the event, and the pair take 6th place overall in the process. Some more celebrations as well, this time for Dylan Davies and Cleon Williams. 5th overall for the pair, taking the B13 class victory with around a minute's advantage. Martin and Dawn England gain a few positions to end the rally just outside our podium places. A good result for the pair, ending the event with 4th. On to those all-important podium places then here at the penultimate round. Would this rally be title deciding? Well, it was the final step on the podium for our reigning champions, Stephen Petch and Michael Wilkinson. They wrapped the title up at this event last year. Sadly for them, though, it wasn't to be this time around, despite a very good fight and some entertaining competition this year from the pair. For Luke Francis and John Roberts, it would be 2nd. A puncture had slowed their challenge for the lead a little, but nothing that would have changed the results, scoring their 4th runner-up position of the season. But there you have it, taking the win this weekend would be this man, Matt Edwards, with Darren Garrett alongside. Not only victory here, but the win in the BTRDA Championship overall. 4 victories this season, meaning they reached the finish of the Woodpecker stages as our 2018 BTRDA champions. A well-deserved and special victory for the Fiesta pairing. So confirmation then of the results at the end of the Woodpecker. The championship decided for Edwards with victory here this weekend. But there would still be a battle for those other podium places at the final round up in Yorkshire.
Long time coming. We've obviously been part of these events for 14 years now. I started in 2004 in the Cambrian, and this championship obviously means a lot to all of myself, my dad, with the involvement we've had in all the events over the years. So it's quite sentimental to have actually got it in the bag at last.
Was it straightforward today, or was the pressure on?
Sort of straightforward, yeah. But then we've had a couple of punctures, so that's thrown a bit of a spanner in the works, and not really any mistakes or anything like that. Just we've had some, obviously caught something somewhere and had a slow puncture going into the last stage, and it delaminated, and just can't really explain that one. But the car looks a bit of a sorry state. It doesn't really reflect how we've tried to treat it today. Tried to be nice and careful, but no, it's really gone well. We've had some good stage times, and we've done the job.
Silver Star in the BTRDA would once again attract a good, varied entry. And leading the cruise after the first couple of stages here on the Woodpecker Rally would be Max Utting and Mike Ainsworth. A great start for the pair, opening up a small 5-second advantage and even making it into the Gold Star top 10. Just behind them and looking to close that gap were George Lepley and Tom Woodburn, also giving some of the Gold Star competitors a run for their money. They were fighting for the championship victory this weekend, so they will be trying to mix speed with a consistent finish. There was no room for mistakes here at the Woodpecker. For Andy Davison and Tom Murphy, it would be 3rd. The time's close. They end the morning just 7 seconds back from Lepley overall. 2nd in the B11 class behind our Silver Star leaders. And mixing up the Silver Star results just outside the podium places were Dave and Toby Brick. The 1400 pair going so well that they were mixing with the top of the Silver Star results here on their local event.
Sorry, I was late there, mate. Sorry. That's it. Now one right over crest, tightens, 40, and then hairpin left. Hairpin left. Hairpin left. Then you've got a 2 left and a 3 right plus. 2 left plus, 3 right plus, into a 5 left plus. 3 right, 5 left plus. Now 40, 6 left half long plus. 60, and then keep right, and a caution 5 right over crest. 40, now a small crest, 5 right long, and tightens into a 4 right.
5 right.
5 right tightens into a 4 right. 150 up middle, he's tightening, he keeps coming. Keeps coming, 150 up middle. Now 6 right long.
For Nick Dobson and Steve Pugh, it would be 5th. The pair taking 3rd in the B11 class at this stage in the escort. Ernie Graham and Robin Kellard, meanwhile, start the day with the historic lead. A good start it was as well. A few places clear of the next historic competitors on the road as they end the morning with 6th. For Bob Vardy and Keaton Williams, it will be 2nd in B10. They were a few places back from Lepley up in the class lead, charging up there ahead, but the times were still close overall. In fact, the pair on an identical time to Graham up ahead. It was Colin Griffiths and Tom Bishop starting the day with the lead in the B12 class, the BMW pair jumping well clear of the chasing class rivals as they settle into 8th place on the overall leaderboard. And leading the way in the N3 class at this stage was Zach Hughes and Tom Wood. A good start from the pair, seeing them with over half a minute's lead in that class going into the second half of the event. Rounding out the top 10 now were Barry Jordan and Paul Wakely, the pair second in the historic cruise and leading our H2 class at this stage. Just behind them in our historic cruise were Jonathan Brace and Tim Samuel, 4 seconds behind to be exact. So it would be a close battle into the afternoon, or so the spectators were hoping. For Tony Simpson and Ian Bevan, it will be 3rd place in the B10 class. A good start from the pair, but they'd have a bit of time to make up to the class rivals up ahead. The question was, would they have the pace? Ewan Tyndall and Paul Hudson end the morning with 2nd in the N3 class here in Shropshire. They would be just over half a minute back from the class lead, but with a smaller advantage in that 2nd place themselves. It was certainly not comfortable. The gap between them and 3rd placed James Giddings and Sean Cunniff would be just 3 seconds. So there will be no backing off through the afternoon stages in that N3 class battle. With Colin Griffiths out there in the lead of the B12 class in a class of his own, it will be up to Alan McDowell and Gavin Heseltine to take 2nd place in the class for now. They'd been up as high as 9th overall, but a broken shaft would cause them a setback and ultimately retirement in service. Prior to that retirement, McDowell a few places overall ahead of this man, Damien Prats, Johnny Evans alongside. 3rd in the class for them, these class results of course due to shake up after service with the loss of McDowell and Heseltine. Frustratingly, we'd also lose Rob Dennis and Andrew Boswell from the fight in this morning's stages. They hit a bank with enough force to damage the car, causing them to retire. A real shame for the pair, who'd been lying in 5th place before this incident. We'd also lose Roger Nevitt and Mike Smith. They hit the same bank as Dennis, unfortunately breaking the front suspension, going no further. That bank certainly claiming its fair share of victims here at the Woodpecker Rally. So we're midway through the day then here in the Silver Star. The results were looking close as well. 4 more stages to go here in Shropshire this afternoon. It really could be anyone's rally. On to the second half of the day then, and we would see that move to 2nd place in the class for Damien Prats and Johnny Evans, the pair ending the rally with 25th overall. It was a move the right way on the results as well in the N3 class for Matthew and Tim Tordoff, the pair ending the rally with 3rd in the class, 24th on the overall leaderboard. Sadly for Ewan Tyndall and Paul Hudson, they will be overtaken on the class results, but with the loss of class leader Zach Hughes in the afternoon, it would mean 2nd place was still theirs at the end of the event. But leapfrogging them on the results to take that class victory would be this man, James Giddings, Sean Cunniff alongside co-driving. A great afternoon for the pair and a great result in the class here on the Woodpecker stages. They couldn't quite find the pace needed. No change in the class for Tony Simpson and Ian Bevan. The pair ending the rally with 3rd in B10, 13th overall. The pace felt good, but there was possibly a little commitment missing from some of the fastest sections of the stages. On to the top 10 then, and we would see a few changes. Jonathan Brace and Tim Samuel stepping up to round out the top 10, keeping hold of that 3rd in the historic category though. Managing to stay ahead of them in the results were Barry Jordan and Paul Wakely. A good result for the Avenger pair, who end the day with 9th overall and the H2 class win. A good, solid drive would see Colin Griffiths and Tom Bishop take the B12 class victory this weekend. The BMW pair managing to end the rally with 8th place overall too in the Silver Star. Our 1400 crew of Dave and Toby Brick continue to mix with the leading Silver Star crews to end at a 7th place. Certainly a cat amongst pigeons, so them trying as hard as they always do on the stages to entertain as well. Ernie Graham and Robin Kellard, meanwhile, take the H3 class win this weekend. Another strong result in that class for the pair, and a good overall result as well of 6th. There was no challenging for the class lead, though, for Bob Vardy and Keaton Williams this weekend, but they do manage to keep the times close, ending the event with 2nd in B10, 5th overall. Nick Dobson and Steve Pugh round out a trio of B11 finishers in the top of our Silver Star results at the end of the rally. 3rd place in class for them, just missing out on a podium position overall by 7 seconds. There's big frustration, though, for this morning's event leaders, Max Utting and Mike Ainsworth. It will be a 3rd place finish to end the day. They drop out of that lead, but manage to stay ever so close, just 22 seconds separating the entire podium by the finish. Taking that 2nd place would be Andy Davison and Tom Murphy. One of their best results to date in the Sunbeam. A good performance out on the stages, seeing them challenging for the overall victory this weekend. But that does mean it was consistency and pace for George Lepley and Tom Woodburn, who take the win. They didn't have it easy by any means, but they did what they needed for the championship, securing themselves the Silver Star victory here on the penultimate round, and leaving Andy Davison to fight for that 2nd place in the championship at the final round in Yorkshire. So confirmation then of the Silver Star results from the Woodpecker stages. A good, close battle all weekend as we've come to expect. But a victory here backs up a good season for Lepley and gives him that title.
Yeah, I mean, we came here today to try and wrap up the Silver Star, and we managed to come out with a win. That's what we had to do. And yeah, it was just a mega day. Really loved the stages. Had to really push hard, and we had a bit of a battle with Max Utting throughout the day. And yeah, just a great day.
The 1400 category on the Woodpecker stages would see a number of local crews battling it out on the stages, and it would be the very local crew of Dave and Toby Brick who lead the way after the morning stages. The Ludlow pair ending stage 3 with a minute's advantage in the category. That lead would be aided by the loss of their regular rivals Chris Powell and Jim Lewis. The Sunbeam pair retiring with mechanical issues on the 2nd stage of the day. So 2nd place at this stage would belong to Nigel and Karen Jenkins. The pair might be a little way back from the lead, but it was good to see them out fighting, and they were holding off any charge from behind. Closest to the Jenkins on the results at this stage will be Tommy Meadows and Emma Morrison. 8 seconds back from the Nova pair, so the afternoon was looking like being a close fight for those podium places. The 3rd stage of the day would see us lose Steve Black and Paul Morris. Engine problems forcing them to pull over mid-stage and call it a day. For Pete Gorst and Phil King, it will be 4th, just outside the podium positions and only 5 seconds back from Meadows. A good start for the Nova pair. And 13 seconds back from them were Freddie Brick and Rob Woodhouse. The Corsa pair putting in some good times in the newer Vauxhall to keep the fight close in the category. Richard Cole and Abby Haycock, meanwhile, mixed things up in the Escort. They end the morning with 6th place in the category. And just behind them, it was another Corsa, Stuart Spire and Pete Williams, 5 seconds behind to be exact. They end the morning with an impressive 7th place. And it will be the similar car of Chris Bush and Robert Smith ending the morning in 8th. The time's even closer at this end of the leaderboard, just a second separating them as they go into service, ready for a big push and hopefully a good close fight through the afternoon. Rounding out the 1400 results were Perry Gardner and Ben Innes, the only crew in 1400C, but sadly they would be suffering, running a few minutes back from the rest of the field, but crucially still running. In Rally First, it would be a great start for Sam and Liam Johnson, taking a 40-second lead in the category. It wasn't without its problems, though. Gearbox issues would leave the pair with only 3rd and 5th. Very days of thunder. Thankfully, a repair by Dad, Richard, in service would keep them in the rally and able to defend that lead into the afternoon. For Guy Butler and Stephen Brown, it will be second. The pair leading the way in the Rally First 2-litre class in that Rally Me Corolla, with a good advantage as well in that position. And they'd be followed by the other Corolla of Matthew Baddeley and Jan Griffiths. Third place for them, gaps either side that didn't look very likely to change. And rounding out our Rally First cruise in fourth with the Fiesta pairing of Wesley Guilford and Mark Townsend. They weren't going to gain a podium place on times alone, but would there be anything happening up ahead to change that around? We would have to see. They would be in an ideal position to pick up if so. So the morning complete here in Shropshire for the Woodpecker Stages Rally, the penultimate round of the BTRDA Rally Series. And in the 1400 and Rally First categories, the leaderboards look like this. On to the afternoon stages then, and there would be no change for Wesley Guilford and Mark Townsend. They end the rally with that fourth place in Rally First. No change either for Matthew Baddeley and Jan Griffiths. They remain second of the Rally Me Corollas to take that final step on the podium and second in the class with it. It would be the class win though for Guy Butler and Stephen Brown. Unable to challenge for the lead of the category overall, but some good points for that championship campaign nonetheless. That, of course, meaning victory for Sam and Liam Johnson. A great end to the rally for the pair. The tyres were going off towards the end of the rally, causing a few moments, but they do take the win by over 2 minutes, so they had plenty in hand to back off if they'd felt like doing so. Our 1400 results would take a massive shake-up through the afternoon stages, losing a number of key crews. One of those being Nigel and Karen Jenkins, who stop after stage 6, missing out on that second place finish. And with a number of other crews not making it out of stage 4, it would only mean 3 crews ending the rally in 1400. Freddie Brick and Rob Woodhouse taking the final of those positions on the podium. Tommy Meadows and Emma Morrison, of course, then moving up to second place overall with the loss of Jenkins. They settle for runner-up this weekend, putting them third in the championship standings going into the final round. And that, of course, means it's victory this weekend for Dave and Toby Brick. A great drive to take victory on their home event, taking the win by almost 2 minutes by the end of the day. So after a particularly grueling penultimate round, confirmation of the 1400 and Rally First results here on the Woodpecker stages. Next up, the BTRDA action continues. And as always, there is plenty of drama to take us to the final round, the challenging Yorkshire stages of the Track Rod Rally. We will, of course, be there to bring you all of the action. And in the meantime, you can check out action from all the previous rounds of this exciting championship on our social media. Thank you for watching.
Care 40 for Rateable Crest Titans.